Hi, this is Chaz Cascus.
This is Paul Furio.
And this is Cascade Improv. And today we have a very special guest. We have Domeka Parker, who is, as I say, improv royalty in Portland. She is the founder and artistic director of Deep End Theater, a director, an actor, a teacher, and just part of the family. So, Domeka, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I got the opportunity to see Relations a couple weeks ago, which that closed last weekend, correct?
Yes, it did.
Yeah, that was a beautiful show.
Oh, thank you.
Like, moving. All three of us wept during your show. And what a rare thing to cry during an improv show.
Well, I love that. That's actually just a really, really high compliment.
It was gorgeous. And yeah, I texted all of my friends who live down in Portland. I was like, oh my God, you guys have to go see this. So
That might be why we sold out.
here's hoping. I'll take the credit, even though we can't prove it.
Yeah.
Tell me about that show, because I haven't seen it.
Oh, okay. Well, Relations is a show that's primarily focused on a family, an adult family, navigating the complexities of relationships and family. As you know, family relationships are quite complicated.
As a child of divorce, they sure are.
They sure are.
Yeah.
Even children who are not of divorced families find themselves having interesting relationships in their families. And so I took the idea of navigating those relationships and had us do a show where the audience chose why we'd come together, but nothing else. And we knew nothing else. And throughout the show, a character would step forward on stage and just do a monologue of their personal journey with the relationships, their personal journey with their history and their trauma and their joys around the family that they're navigating. It was really fun to do.
Yeah. It was gorgeous. And then it ended with a line of monologues where each actor came out, and was the idea to sort of be like chronological in that, because it seemed like each person sort of like took like almost like credits rolling. It was like, this is what comes next, this is what comes next. And it seemed like it wasn't really like in the moment, but it was sort of like the ramifications of the show that you just saw. How did it affect all of us? Or was that did that just happen to be that night?
Both.
Okay.
So I'd like to take credit for exactly how that show ended from a director's standpoint. But each show ended a little bit differently.
Sure, yeah.
And you just happened to see a show where the chronological order came out of the actors. But what they're directed to do is each give kind of a closing monologue and then begin to interrupt each other so that we're only getting snippets of each other's thoughts, and then to all speak at the same time so that we as an audience get to choose who we're listening to.
That was so fun.
Yeah.
And I sort of like, as an improviser watching it, I was like, oh, I bet they're going to do like a little rant bank or, that kind of format of all this chorus of people all monologuing over each other. And that was so fun. And then to have the dad step out and be like, and I think they're going to do all right, was just like, or whatever his like line that he ended with was just like, it was so beautiful. I just like, I turned to Grace and was just like, I was like, that was beautiful. I cried. She goes, yeah, I've been crying too. Right. It was.
Yeah, it was a special night that night because early on the father was endowed with early onset dementia. And so every time someone told a story or a memory or did a monologue, they were reflecting on their dad and who he was and who he was becoming and who they were going to miss.
Yeah.
So it was really quite touching.
Well, and the thing that I saw was that was a moment that was just purely discovered. this early onset dementia. And I think it was just like in it was like his opening scene. I think the actor just sort of like stumbled over some words.
Yes.
And then you were playing his wife, and your character, you just sort of like came out and made this decision of like, yeah, I'm going to be like kind of very particular about things. And then just those two choices right there, we just sort of did if this is true, then what else? If this is true, then what else? And it snowballed into this beautiful story.
Yeah.
And none of it felt forced or heavy handed. It just felt so seen or discovered, seen, and then just like nurtured throughout the show.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Noticing that.
It was, yeah. Yeah, it was just I was so full of life after that show. It was so reinvigorating. And I think, I've been to see 2 shows now at Deep End. There's one I think pre-COVID, and then that show. And both times your theater is something that just like really reinvigorates my love and joy and passion for this art form.
I love that news.
Yeah, so thank you. Domeka, I'd love to hear. Sorry,
I was going to say, so this is Deep End in Portland.
Yes.
You're visiting us up here in Seattle, so welcome.
Thank you.
And before we dive into Portland stuff, I'm kind of curious, like what brings you up to Seattle this time?
Well, what brings me up to Seattle this time is my husband and I frequent Port Orchard, Washington, because his mother lives there.
Okay.
And so we visit there really regularly, and often when I'm here, I try to come over to Seattle to see my friends and people I consider family in Seattle. So today I've got like 3 meetings with friends, and then I'm going to see a show.
Yeah,
Fun.
exciting.
Good. I would love to know your background and how you found improv and how you got started in it.
Oh, interesting. So I'm the child of improvisers. My mother and father were both improvisers before I was born. They founded the first improv group in Portland, Oregon in the 70s, and it was called Savoir Faire. And then when that group died out, they started a new group called Waggy and Friends, and Waggy and Friends was really well known, and even people here in Seattle knew about Waggy and Friends and came to see them or tried to get in contact with my parents so that they could improvise together. So I was born into the green rooms and audiences of their shows.
Wow.
And their rehearsals. As actors, neither of my parents could afford childcare, so I was often stuck in a corner on some coats. And grew up watching them. And the first time I did any professional improv work myself was when my father was championing a theater sports tournament, a citywide theater sports tournament in Portland.
Cool.
And it was a really big event, and they had a lot of different teams, college teams, other adult teams, and someone had to drop out of one of the teams, and my dad couldn't find a replacement. And he kind of looked around and was like, "You, Domeka, you jump in." And I was 9.
Oh my God.
So we didn't win that tournament, but we did come in second. And boy, did I think I was funny. Yeah, I really loved it. In retrospect, I think it was the novelty of having a child on stage that we got so many applause or went so far. But I got the bug.
Yeah. Fun. You got the bug. I would love to hear a little bit about some of those companies that your parents started and sort of like what were the shows that they were doing, and then like where did they learn their improv from?
Oh, right. Well, my mother and father both studied at Portland State University in the theater program. And my mother's a dramatic actress, and my father is a more comedic actor, but he can also do dramatic roles. As can my mother do comedy. But this is kind of how I would categorize them. And often improv was an important part of their rehearsal processes for scripted work. And at some point, somebody said, some people would pay to see this. Like people would love this. People would pay to see this. And that inspired my parents to start their first improv group. And then they started to play around bars and small theaters in Portland, mostly doing short form.
Okay.
And when Waggy and Friends started, they actually started doing improv in schools in Portland and doing a lot of something we call Run for the Arts in Portland. Would fund them going into schools and teaching kids improv.
Cool.
But they also did this like amazing New Year's Eve show that everybody knew about and everyone was there.
Yeah.
And they would do this incredible show with mostly short form. And then sometimes my mother would do this character called Patsy Loretta. And she would come up next to the piano and she would ask the audience for the names of the songs they liked best from her new album. And then she would sing these country songs, and she would always say, but never Dog in a Bag. I won't sing Dog in a Bag. And inevitably someone would ask for Dog in a Bag.
Right.
But it was just incredible. You know, wigs, cowgirl boots, the whole get up. So there was an aspect of the improv that they were doing that was also sketch.
Sure. Yeah.
There were some pieces of it that were more invention than discovery, but they were exceptional. They were really good at what they did, and their tech was really good, which is absolutely one of the most important things. And I grew up really proud of them. That's my mom. That's my dad, you know, and I just wanted to be on stage with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were some things that like you feel like you continue to like champion and hold that were like teachings from your parents?
Well, actually, so I developed a approach to improv called sound improvisation, and the way that I did that and the reasons that I did that is because I saw my mother doing this dramatic theater. And she was so compelling and so engaging, and I was so riveted by her work. And then I would see my dad doing this comedy work and their improv.
Yeah.
I would see their improv, and I was so drawn to improv, but I was so compelled by what my mother was doing that I thought to myself, could improvisation be this impactful? And so I started developing an approach to improvisation that would teach people how to have those impactful moments, how to span the breadth of theater from the most absurd comedy to the most poignant drama.
Yeah.
But that all came out of watching my parents and how they approached theater. And from a young age and growing up surrounded by that.
Ugh, beautiful. Yes, I quote you a lot in my classes that I teach.
Oh, do you?
I do. Yes. And I will often refer to, I'll be like, this is discovery versus invention, which is sort of one of the frameworks that I've learned from Domeka Parker, who is Portland improv royalty.
I wouldn't say that, but you can.
I knew you would
can say it.
Exactly. I knew you would politely not ascribe to that, but I will always give that to you.
Thank you.
Fun. And so then, as you grew up in improv, how has your process and practice changed? What were some of the different things that interested you as you grew up in improv?
Well, I think something that really compelled me was character, and to really be able to feel from a character's perspective, and see from a character's perspective and speak from a character's perspective. I think that character work was something that my parents were really exceptional at. And a lot of the times when I saw improv, it felt like two stand-ups playing off each other. And I was missing the story.
Yeah.
And I would watch my parents do improv and I would see the story.
Yeah.
And so I picked up the importance of story, characterization, and acting in improv from them. And so when I teach improv, I start with basic acting skills, and we work with acting skills throughout all of our sessions of improv training, so that once you're doing scene work, you're actually feeling it, and you're playing characters that are believable and meaningful, and saying and doing meaningful things.
Yeah. That's great. I love it. I sit on kind of either side of that conversation of, and what I'll say is I'll start with highlighting something that I've learned from Dave Morris, which is that on stage in every improv scene there's two stories happening: the story between the actors and the story between the characters. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I feel like that moment where you have the two, it feels like two stand-ups just sort of like riffing off of each other.
Yeah.
I think what we are highlighting in that moment is the relationship between the actors, but not always the characters. And I don't think that's I don't think that's a bad thing to have, but I think we emphasize it too much. And I think it becomes ego.
Right.
How funny, how clever am I, instead of what are we discovering
together. It becomes a competition. When two stand-ups are riffing off of each other, it becomes, how can I one-up you? How can I one-up you?
Yeah.
And I like to train actors who specialize in improvisation to hold each other up and alley-oop.
Yeah.
So how can I help you? How can I help you?
Yeah. How have you seen the Portland scene change? Like, talked in a little bit about like you and sort of your personal growth and changing as an improviser, but how have you seen sort of the scene around you change?
Well, what I think is interesting is that there's a variety of options in Portland in terms of where to see improv. And I think that that's really developed because it used to be very few choices. And someone's opening up a new theater now. Like there's just a lot of different options, and every theater kind of specializes in their own style and that sort of thing. So you can really get a variety of improv in Portland. And I think it really used to be just a few small groups. And then of course there was the Brody Theater, which opened in Portland, led by Tom Johnson, and the Brody Theater was really the be all and end all for a long time, and like I said, now there's just a lot of variety.
Yeah, which I think Seattle is starting to see more and more of that variety of improv, as we're getting companies like Bandit, who has more of a UCB style of improv, and Jet City is, Jet City has always been a separate company with just the style of improv that they do from what UP does, and then with comedy sports as well. That is comedy first, and they're fast and furious.
Yeah, we have comedy sports in Portland too.
Yeah. And so.
That's only the second show I've seen in Portland was Comedy Sports.
Oh, yeah.
The first one I saw was, like two decades ago. And it was just 4 performers. There were only 4 people in the audience.
And
They did 2 Heralds back to back before I even knew what that was.
Oh, yeah.
It was incredible. It was just get a word, and they just riffed for 30 minutes.
I love that.
Took a break and got another word, another 30 minutes of... It was great.
Oh,
Somewhere in the
fun.
Pearl District. I don't know what's in the Pearl District 20 years ago.
Yeah,
It was this tiny little theater.
Love that.
Yeah. And so I think it's great. And I encourage all of my students, go see the other theaters. Go,
for sure.
Because you get so siloed. And really, we teach a specific style of improv. And it's not the only style of improv. It just happens to be the one I like the most.
Right.
And it's, and there can be a moment where, I think it was actually Tony Beeman who was saying that it's oftentimes some of the culture wars can be more students sort of spearheading, like, here's what I like and here's what I'm learning. And a lot of the people who are in leadership, or the teachers, it's like, no, we're all friends. I love improvising with all these people. We just have different styles of it. And I know that when I go to this theater, I have to, turn up this dial and turn down this dial a little bit. And I'm not going to lose myself, but I also want to, I'm not going to be a roadblock, in the work that they're doing as well.
Right.
And, as you get better, you start to learn how to improvise with all those other styles and such. But it's like, yeah, please go enjoy them. No, we don't have any beef with them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. With your, as artistic director of Deep End Theater, and you've founded and created that, what are the things that are like, that you are really like championing for your company?
Well, our company does mostly full-length improvised plays. We do very minimal short form at our theater, where we appreciate short form a lot. But that just isn't the style that we present the most frequently. We're really about following the road less traveled. So we're trying to cut our own path, our own style, our own message, and we really want the audiences to walk away from our shows feeling something, and feeling something more than just that was a funny show, but like that it was a meaningful show. And it can be meaningfully very funny.
Right.
But that's what we're championing at Deep End.
When you're making formats, how do you go about creating your long forms?
Usually I like to start with kind of a question. I like to start with a question about what do I want my audience to feel, or what do I want my audience to glean from this project. And then I start to develop a format based on that kind of overall result. I like to develop formats thinking about the actors that I have at my disposal. And where they would thrive. And so, like with Dreamcatcher, which was the show that we did 2 shows before Relations, I really saw that my ensemble could benefit from a bonding experience, like summer camp. So I created a show that used all 20 of them.
Oh, fun.
So we had a large ensemble show, 20 improvisers all working together to do this show that was about dreams and dream logic. And it was really a fantastic show. And the ensemble did bond and strengthen over the course of that show. And then when I was doing Relations, I wanted to do something a lot smaller. I wanted to take the bonds that we created in Deep End and create something more intimate. And so that was the inspiration for making that show.
What are some of the considerations that you have as you're sort of planning out the season, and like, you know, because there's a big part of being an artistic director where you are championing the art and you are making sure that you have your own vision, but then there's another part where you got to make sure that the lights are on. You know? All
the admin.
The unsung.
So the considerations are that our theater needs to make money. And so occasionally I have to put an experimental format on the back burner and pull it out at the right time. So I weave in shows that are real audience pleasers, shows that the audiences just kind of flock to with minimal effort. And then once I have that interest and investment from audiences is a great time for me to put in an experimental show because they're already engaged and now they're curious.
That's great.
What are some of your tried and true, like an audience will always show up for those type shows?
An audience will always show up for The Awkward Unlimited, which is the Wes Anderson inspired show. They love it. And they see the name Wes Anderson. It's something they're familiar with. And they want to be a part of seeing that made from scratch. So that or our Coen Brothers show or another genre type show, they really, really, really like. So it's easy for me to kind of reach into my back pocket and pull out a genre show. And the cast loves to do them. It's so fun. So everybody wins.
I'm glad you're breaking the stereotypes because I never would associate Portland with Wes Anderson.
What is it about improvisers and like loving to do genre? I feel like that is the thing that I am continually like asked about is like, or when I hear like an indie team, they're like, we want to do it in this style and in this genre.
It gives you permission to act. Playing inside a genre gives you permission to act, and people want to act. Improvisers want to act, but a lot of times they don't have the means to tap in that way because they don't necessarily have permission to really dig deep, but a genre gives permission. You can really play a character and really tell a story inside of a genre, which is one thing that Deep End tries to aim to do in our experimental shows as well, is give the actor permission to really act, really dig in and do something meaningful. And the results are just really remarkable.
Yeah. What prevents an improviser from wanting to really act? Because I've experienced it, and where an improviser is in a genre and they're willing to like make these big, brave, bold offers, and then now you're in a Herald where you can make the same offers, but they're not.
I think that it's the spontaneous nature of the beast. I don't want to scare you or threaten you or make you feel uncomfortable. And I don't know in the moment how you might react to me playing very angry or playing very romantic. Like there are boundaries and there are consents and there are intimacy awarenesses and these things that we can't always do in the moment with such a spontaneous form. So I think a lot of people don't feel like they have permission to act, in short form especially, when it's moving so quickly. Which is one of the wonderful things about having an ensemble where you really trust each other and you've bonded and you can say to each other before a show, I give you permission to act. I invite you to act with me. And then you see those more meaningful things emerge.
Yeah. Is there a way that you have found on stage to be able to sort of give and take that consent for those moments there? Like, are there small moments where you realize, oh, I'm just like, I feel like the story's going here, but I want to make sure my scene partner feels safe with me in that. What are some of those ways, if you found those?
Well, a lot of the most simple answer to that question is eye contact. You can tell a lot from somebody's eyes, and moving in a certain degree and then giving pause so the other person can move in the rest of the way. And that's something I train my actors to do, is that to share just a little of an invitation and see if the invitation is accepted. And that's for all forms of intimacy, not just, kisses and hugs and that sort of thing, but also the intimacy of deep sadness or deep grief or anger. We need to feel some sense that our partner can go there with us. And so leaning in to a certain extent, pausing and waiting for a response is the easiest way and the most effective way to go about getting that sort of consent in the moment.
Is there conversation also about making sure the audience sees that give and take consent?
Yes, for sure. We talk a lot about our audience feeling like they're a voyeur into a moment that they shouldn't be there for, which we find really a fun thing to play to. And we want them to lean in and try to see more rather than look away. That I'm reflecting on when audiences are watching a scene and something like there's something going wrong off stage or just on stage and people are trying to clean it up and the audience only looks at that. And this idea of the audience wants to watch things that they're kind of not supposed to watch. Right? They do.
How fun.
And it's just invigorating inside of a scene when you think of your audience that way. They're here for a moment they're not supposed to be here for. So if we want them to watch and engage and really be locked in to what we're doing. We need to give them something to see. And I know that sounds very simple, but it's not always that simple with improv. Sometimes a whole scene can go by, as you know, where there was nothing to see. Yeah. There was no reason for watching that scene. And we're eager to get on to the next scene. I aim for every scene having some bit of magic that encapsulates the audience into like one being with us, like we're all in this moment together.
Yeah.
You know,
it's such a concrete way of talking about something that I know Randy teaches, which is you only need to tell 75% of the story and your audience tells the other 25%.
Yes.
And I get pushback from people, you know, who haven't learned under Randy, or maybe just don't trust that, and they're like, why would I give? No, I want to give my audience everying. You know, like I want them. You know, I don't want secrets between me and my audience, or you know, however we justify it. But I love this reframing of it, and like I said, making it so clear and concrete of it. The things that you're hiding are things that you want the audience to investigate more.
Yes.
And I don't know if it's hiding them necessarily, but it's, you know, there's another phrase, being vague yet evocative.
Yeah.
Right? Like
it's creating curiosity.
Yeah.
Which makes your audience lean in. And you're more likely to hear from them instead of a big guffaw, you know.
Yeah. It's so much better.
Yeah, I like it a lot. When I hear my audience say, ah.
Yeah, a gasp, an awe, anything. Like, I'll take that over a laugh, like, any day.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
You are, well, yeah, as you're on stage, not necessarily just being director, what do you feel like the improviser's mind is? Like, what are the things that you're looking towards, and how are you preparing yourself to be on stage?
Oh, interesting question. I can't explain the improviser's mind.
All right, next question. No, I'm kidding.
But I can speak to, you know, how I prepare myself. And my motto is, you know, I have these 7 pillars of sound improv, and one of them is discovery over invention. And I love to come as an empty vessel to the stage and really see what's put in to me to bring things out instead of bringing things to the stage and then trying to explain it to the other improviser. So I work a lot on listening with my whole body, and so that when I see my partner walk on stage, I notice things like their eyebrows are raised or their hands are in a fist. I see their pantomime, which I think often gets missed. But if you're really looking, you can see the world that your partner is creating and then act in response to it. And it's in response that we have the deepest, most meaningful offers come from a place of response. And so that's how I prepare myself, is I prepare myself to be as blank as possible. And then I really hone my listening craft as tightly as I can, so that's my job, is to get out there and see things.
Yeah. You are such a wise and insightful teacher of improv. And I know we were talking about this as we were driving here a little bit. And I was talking with Tony Beeman over some drinks, and he goes, well, Domeka Parker her superpower is being able to make amazing improvisers out of students. And just that ability of being such a great teacher. How do you raise such great improvisers? Because I see it in your company, and they're
thank you.
Truly, truly wonderful artists and actors.
Well, I think that all comes back to acting, but for acting for them and empathy for me. So I teach from a place of like deep and sincere empathy, and I'm very aware of what each improviser needs and their different needs. There are certain improvisers who really need direct feedback in the moment. And there are certain improvisers that need an email later. And feeling out that kind of thing and really understanding who I'm working with, seeing their strengths and helping them to strengthen those strengths is really the way that I go about teaching. And when we notice the weaknesses, I ask myself why that weakness in this moment, and how can we give them the power or empower them to change that? Yeah. And usually it's deeper than just, oh, he makes jokes a lot. It really means that he's insecure. So how can we make him feel secure on stage so that a joke isn't his first choice? Yeah.
How do you give a note? What makes a good note?
I think a good note talks about the strength of an offer, rather than, let's say, you made a bad offer. This was a bad offer. You might say something like, what could have made this offer stronger is, and also talking about the consequences of choices. So when I give notes, I often focus on the consequence of the choice they made, not the choice they made. I give notes about, did you see your partner recoil after this moment? What do you think made them recoil that way? And so people are self-reflecting. And then I support their self-reflection and give them feedback about that. It takes away from the sense of just knocking people down with notes or making them feel embarrassed or ashamed of the choices that they've made.
Yeah. What are the things that you're looking for when you're saying that there is a note that is stronger, or not a note, an offer that is stronger, or versus a weak or a weaker offer?
Less strong
offer?
A less strong offer? Well, one of the things that I look for in an offer is a full offer. So I like to think about an offer as if it were a brick. And you bring in a brick and set it down, and then your partner brings in a brick and stacks it directly on top of that brick. If there's only half a brick underneath, the next offer can't sit strongly on the first.
Right.
And so when I'm looking at my improvisers, my ensemble, as they're making offers with one another, I immediately notice if a person has been allowed to make a full offer or has been encouraged to make a full offer. And we talk about, what a full offer looks like as opposed to what a half offer feels like. Because it's hard to build on something that's half.
Yeah. What is a full offer?
A full offer gives, only the improviser knows what the full offer could be, but you can tell if a person has not fulfilled the whole life of their offer. If they're interrupted or cut off, they haven't been able to give a full offer. So a lot of the times it has more to do with them being allowed the space to make a full offer than it has to do with their skill or talent in making an offer.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting.
Does that answer that question at all?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It makes me think about slowing down. And one of the things Randy talked about when we talked to him was the different types of time, character time and audience time and performer time. And being relatively new to improv, I still get that feeling that when I'm on stage, like, I'm going so slow.
Yeah.
And then I watch myself and I'm like, I went so fast.
Yeah.
And, to build on what you're saying, embodying that. No, just give space, like listen more, let the other person finish their thought, finish their offer, like complete it. And maybe an offer is not just, here's a line that meets crow, but it's,
Right.
I said something, and then here's a look, here's a gesture, here's more,
Yeah.
here's, I talked to you about my relationship, and now I'm going back to chopping the carrots. And that's the full offer.
Yeah.
And just give space for it.
Yeah, absolutely. We rush so much in improv, and often I see people teaching that kind of speedy, witty, clever improv, which I totally have an appreciation for the result of in a lot of different ways. But what I don't see is generosity in that style. Generosity and partnership.
Yeah.
I like to see improv where it feels magical. And for it to feel magical, one improviser needs to be holding the other improviser up, and the other improviser needs to be holding them up so that to the audience it looks like they're floating.
Yeah.
And that's when we do a disservice to the work that we do, is when we rush, when we feel urgency. And so to be taught urgency can really be contrary to getting the results that we want.
Yeah. Something that came up in my wondering is this conversation of allowing your scene partner to give the full offer, and that usually means giving them that space and time. And if you're in a scene that you've built up to an argument, sometimes that does mean that you're cutting people off, and like that's part of the offer that you're making as well. How do you negotiate the two of those things?
Well, I think that if you're really feeling the moment, and you're really feeling each other, and you're using eye contact, I think you can sense when banter is appropriate and necessary to convey the feeling that you're trying to share, the both of you.
Yeah.
So it's what do we want rather than what do I want and what do I want.
Yeah.
So if you're in an argument scene and it gets to a point where there's like a cacophony of banter, you can tell real easily just by looking at your partner and really seeing your partner if this is what we want.
Yeah.
And if it feels right, then it's a character cutting off a character, not an actor cutting off an actor.
Yeah. Earlier, before we started recording, we were talking about you had brought up actors getting only half an offer out, and we were talking in the context to male presenting improvisers and female presenting improvisers being in a scene together. And you were saying that oftentimes a lot of femme presenting improvisers only get half an offer out because the male presenting actor is taking up a lot of space. How do you go about supporting women in improv?
Yeah, well, it starts with those notes and early.
Yeah.
Some improv teachers don't give a lot of notes to the beginners because they want them to just have fun and engage. I think notes are important right from the beginning. I think noticing subtle behaviors that the actor themselves doesn't realize they're doing, like interrupting women, is a really important in-the-moment note. We were talking a little bit about some notes are best after a show, and some notes are important to give in the moment. And I think men running over women on stage is something that needs to be a note that needs to be given in the moment, because not only does he need to hear it and we need to move forward from there, but she needs to hear you give the note. She needs to see that you saw that. And so I think you can give a lot of support in that way to women on stage. You can also really empower women off stage, support and encourage them off stage so that when they get onto stage, the they're less likely to allow for mistreatment as well. But I'm very straightforward with my male improvisers. They understand that we're a woman-run company, and we have a lot of really wonderful femme-presenting improvisers on our team, and we want everyone to be treated with respect. Yeah. So it might sound very simple, but it's really about the conversation being really open, honest, and direct.
Yeah. Yeah. What are some of the other considerations that you have as artistic director of this company and this community that you're shepherding when it comes to just making it a safe space for, I suppose, against a culture of patriarchy where men just get to kind of take up a lot of space, and that's what we've grown up, and it's been okay, and we're recently in these conversations, and by recently, I mean in the last 10, 15 years in these conversations about whoa, we need to settle down, and what are those other considerations that you're making?
Well, I feel like there's a lot that goes on in my head about making safe space. And I think having a routine of warming up practices that really have us look at each other and see each other and take that pause right from warm up makes a huge difference. So when I go to a theater and they're doing Bunny Bunny, a wonderful fun game, but when they're doing just Bunny Bunny and some other silly warm-ups, what I notice is that the improvisers aren't connecting before they get on stage. They're being silly, they're being funny, they're loosening up, which is terrific. But they're not really connecting, giving each other permission to act, really seeing each other, men and women alike. And so I think putting more thought into the pre-show practices makes a big difference. And I encourage people to put more thought into that warm-up time. Because it's not just to warm the improvisers up to be on stage, it's also to warm the improvisers up to be in this show together.
Yeah. What are those hallmarks or those the pH test strips of we've warmed up enough? What are some of those pillars that you're looking for in warm-ups?
Well, what I really like to see is relaxed readiness. That's when you are very aware without anxiety, and you're prepared without urgency. And I like to see, we play the game Yes, which is very common and people play it a lot, but I like to see that my improvisers are not walking before they are invited or taking steps, stumbling on their steps. When I see them standing in their place, waiting their turn, with relaxed readiness, I know we're doing well.
Yeah. That reminds me of Cynthia Lair talking about second circle.
Right, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, and not being in first circle where you're really, really kind of closed off and very internally minded, or third circle, which I think we see a lot of improv in that space where your energy is really beyond you, and there's that element of kind of being out of control, and you're there's a lot of that anxiety, and you're sort of pushing, but instead being in that second circle where it's that relaxed readiness.
What a lovely way to put it. Yeah.
And third circle leads to a surprise mermaid.
Yeah.
Randy would when I was a young improviser, Randy would say, he goes, "Yeah, you should be almost ready to be on stage."
Yeah,
that's what.
Almost ready.
Yeah, he goes, you don't want to be ready because once you get out there, your audience is then gonna push you beyond ready to be on stage. He goes, you should be almost ready for the show, and then once you get out there and the audience energy's there, then all of a sudden then you're ready.
It raises you to the task.
Yeah.
I think that ties into what you were saying before, and to the the thought of, yes, step out slightly before you're ready, but be open to what will happen. Like the offers that are out there, like be paying attention. Don't walk out with some brilliant idea, but walk out into the scene, into the offers that are there, and continue to build with that. Not,
right.
Hey, here's my brilliance.
Right.
Yeah.
And that lack of anything out there is in itself an offer.
Yeah.
There's a vast array of options in that moment. And I think it's really neat to kind of destroy options with your first offer.
Tell me about that.
Yeah. So when you step out on stage, that first offer should really destroy options so that people can see your vision. But you should be absolutely primed to be flexible. So when you go out there, you have a lot of clarity with your pantomime. Pantomime is very important to me in the work we do. And you have a lot of clarity in your pantomime. You have a lot of clarity in your first words. And someone can join you there very easily and gracefully, as opposed to going out there and being real vague and waiting for the other person to come in and make it clear.
Yeah.
And I really like it when two people join each other on the stage and they take their first offer from the other person's being rather than their words. So that we can start a scene from a place of subtext as opposed to joking off each other's words.
Yeah.
So you can really take the person in, see their body language, see that their shoulders are up and they're kind of shrunken over. And they say something like, "Good morning, Mom." Well, if I respond to "Good morning, Mom," I'm not responding to the whole offer. But if I see their body, I can see the subtext, then I can respond to that whole full offer.
Yeah.
How do you balance, because something that I've taken from you is this idea of we discover, we don't invent. How do you frame for students and improvisers the divide between discovering something but not being passive on stage?
Right. That is a really good question. Discovering something is an active word. Discovery is an active word.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of times where you see a student come on stage and just get in kind of a place of a vague emergence, and they're not really formatting any kind of idea or vision or anything like that. That's not coming to them. Discovery is walking out on stage and noticing in your mind's eye that there's a mantelpiece. And if there's a mantelpiece, what's on the mantelpiece? And if there's a gun on the mantelpiece, is it yours?
Yeah.
Discovery is an active chain of events that blossom.
Yeah.
Whereas sometimes going out there, people imagine that discovery is a state of just looking around and taking it all in, which has its place. Emergence is really important.
Yeah.
And we meet the stage with emergence always.
Yeah.
But just remembering that discovery is an active choice.
Yeah. I listened to an interview. This was a long, long time ago, some old YouTube video, but it was of Keegan-Michael Key talking about improv. And he said, improv is just the process of defining one thing and then taking a step back and saying what's around it, and then taking a step back and what's around it.
Yeah.
I think some of my favorite things about this podcast that we're doing here is just getting to talk with just my heroes. I think I mentioned this last time, I just get to talk with my heroes and hearing the way we're all talking about the same thing in such different lenses, and we're just looking at the same house, right? But everyone has a different way of talking about it, and it highlights different importances, right? And how we approach, what we're all just trying to get to, which is just a good damn show.
Which is a good show.
Yeah.
Which is a good feeling show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's fascinating the different vocabularies that improv teachers develop for the same thing.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important that we listen to each other.
Yeah.
And see that they are saying the same thing as you rather than, just because they call it boom baby and you call it invisible mind or something.
I don't know either of his games. Great.
It doesn't mean that you're on different sides.
Yeah.
I think we all have the same intentions for the work that we do.
Yeah.
We want to engage and entertain an audience, and we also want to serve the improviser by giving them an engaging and entertaining experience. So, being open to other people's styles and vocabulary is really important.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's something that gets lost, at least for me, when I am teaching. I think it can sometimes get lost when I am advocating for, we shoot for art and we settle for comedy, and we don't shoot for comedy and settle for less. And then, people, I feel like they're like, well, then if I want to do this seriously, then I can't have fun up here, right? And we kind of lose that. And I'm like, no, it's not that. I'm not trying to advocate that we don't have fun on stage, because truly, if we're not having fun, we're robbing the audience of us of that portion of improv is just adults being playful and us finding things together. But also, none of us are making enough money doing this, so we better have fun at least.
We better have fun. And I think that playfulness is one of the pillars of sound improvisation. Sound improv.
Yeah.
And it's really important that we come from a place of playfulness, even in the most serious work.
Yeah.
Playfulness helps you to take risks.
Yeah. Yeah. It's such a good conversation. That's right. Paul, did you have something?
No, go for it.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Who are some of your improv heroes?
Interestingly, this might surprise you. My parents. My parents are my improv heroes. Yeah. But outside of them, I do a lot of study, and I feel like it's my responsibility as an educator and an artistic director to keep learning and keep putting myself in opportunities to learn. I really take a lot from Viola Spolin. I'm really compelled by all the work that she did. I was moved and changed by the work of Ruth Zapura, Action Theater, which people seem to know less about, but it's wonderful work.
Yeah.
It's really compelling. And she was one of my heroes for sure. We just lost her recently. I call Randy Dixon my mentor.
Yeah.
And maybe he hasn't decided he's my mentor. So I don't know if that's a mutual relationship or I just follow him around. But I've learned a lot from him. And he's changed my perspective on things in many, many moments of my improv career.
Yeah. He is such an influential improviser.
He really is.
Yeah.
He really is.
Yeah. Deep End is part of a collective.
Yeah.
Talk more about that.
So Deep End is part of this really, really cool group. We're called the Four Corners, but we're calling ourselves the Five Corners now because there's five of us. But the couplings that I can talk about are like Paper Street Theater in Victoria, the Kinkernauts in Calgary, and Bullskit in Alberta. In Red Deer, Alberta, are some of our partnerships. And we get together as often as possible, which sometimes is every 2 months and sometimes is every month.
Yeah.
But we get together on essentially a Zoom call, and we talk to each other about things like I'm updating my code of conduct. Can you help? Or I have a student that I'm having a particularly hard time getting through to. What might you do?
Yeah.
And we meet and discuss those things. And we also do a check-in, which it's much like a check-in you would do in an improv circle, but we go a lot deeper. Because being an artistic director is a really isolating position where you can't often discuss the way you feel about things honestly. And you can have a certain amount of transparency, but not with your ensemble. It's a very lonesome job.
Yeah.
And so to get together and to be able to really say, this is how I really feel. This is what I'm really seeing. This is what I really want.
Yeah.
This is where I'm failing. This is where I'm succeeding, is really powerful.
Yeah.
It's really powerful. And so I have found this group like indispensable for my mental health and really responsible for a lot of the great things in my theater community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. Do you guys like trade formats? Or do you like bring each other out for directing, or just interested in like the depth
the other
and
companies. The other companies are all Canada-based companies, and so they see each other more often than I see them. But they do bring each other out to experiment with new formats and also to share old formats.
Yeah.
Dave Morris has brought his Meet Cute show to Red Deer and many other shows to Red Deer and Calgary, and we kind of share around in that way.
Yeah.
When America is a more wonderful place to be, I intend to bring the Four Corners down
Good. Yeah,
to
cool.
Portland. But right now, what we try to do is we each try to put on a festival once a year, where the Four Corners come together and meet and do a festival where we can kind of speak to the world about where we see improv going, how we feel about improv now, what kind of improv we're doing.
Yeah.
And that's really nice. And we were supposed to have that here in May in Portland, but the climate is just not right for having guests.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Canada, if you're listening, Washington and Oregon would love to be a province.
If you'll have us.
You'll have us. Yeah. I second that.
Yeah. But it's a great collection of really great people.
Yeah.
And it's very exclusive in that we really like just the small group of us, but we recently opened it up to someone new, and we're interested in seeing what becomes of the Five Corners.
That's great.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Good.
Yeah.
What are some of the similarities and what are some of the differences in the companies? In the Five Corners.
Well, I think it depends on where you are and who you're catering to, what your audiences want, as well as what you want as an artistic director. So there's something so terrific about the Kinkernauts because they really, and that's in Calgary, and the corner is Owen Chan, and he's a wonderful, wonderful person. They really get people on stage and get ideas on stage. They're really, really open to students having ideas and improvisers in their ensemble having ideas. They have a huge ensemble. And they...
What is huge?
I think there's like 80 or something people.
Okay. That's a lot.
And I may be wrong. Owen might be shaking his head right now and saying, nope, it's 90.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of people. And they have a unique way of getting everyone on stage and performing and producing shows for other improvisers, which is really of vital importance. And I think they do a great job of that.
Yeah.
And then Bullskit Comedy, Jenna Goldade, she has some shows that are really touching, moving, meaningful. And then she also does things like drinking shows and shows that the audience just really go crazy for and really love. And her community is really primed. I think she does similar to what we do in that once you get your audience really paying attention and really curious about you, you can throw in something more meaty.
Yeah.
And so she does that. And then Paper Street Theater with Dave Morris, they do this beautiful theater. He says improv that feels like theater.
Yeah.
And it really does. And they do a variety of different shows. And I know Dave is really focused on storytelling at the moment. And I really love their work. It's different than what I do in that I really try to use the whole animal of improv to create our formats and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And Dave uses more genre-based work, and he also has cool rules. I think they're cool rules, but like that you don't put anything on the fourth wall because there wouldn't be something on the fourth wall in a play.
Yep. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, and
yep.
I love that thinking. It really makes their stuff come to life. Yeah. So there's some differences and some similarities. I think we as artistic directors are all very similar. Even though our seasons look different.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we want the same thing from our shows.
Yeah.
How did you decide to become AD or get into being AD?
Well, I was with another company, and I was really enjoying that. I did that for several years and was briefly the AD at the other company. And I...
Like by choice, or like it was the hole needed to be filled, or what?
It was by choice. I pushed for it, and
cool. Good for you.
and got the opportunity. Saw that it was something that I could do, and thought to myself, I could do this under my own roof, and use my own approach. And that would be very exciting. So it was exhilarating to become the AD of Deep End Theater because I could use Sound Improv to train my improvisers right from the start.
Yeah.
And I could have that kind of fluidity and incorporation of my ideas right from class one all the way through.
Yeah.
And then into our ensemble. And that kind of being able to have the whole animal was really attractive to me.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And if I got a job at Kinko's, I'd be the manager of Kinko's by the end of the week. And it's not because they think I'm great and have great management skills. It's because I cannot help myself but take over.
Yeah. I like to think of myself more as the reluctant leader. Like, no one else is doing this. All right, let me step in. But yeah, I think in some ways it's like, all right, here's a gap, and let's move down the right path.
Yeah. For me, it's like sugar. I need it.
I get it.
But I don't always like it. Once I get to be the manager of Kinko's, I realize maybe that there's a lot of things that are hard about that job.
Yes.
And maybe I didn't want the glory of being the manager of Kinko's.
Yeah.
I don't feel that way about ADing Deep End.
That's great.
I feel really good in that position.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel that you have to, is that a relationship that you have to like quell when you're on stage from like leadership to then being in this, or even if you're at a festival, this propensity for like leadership, is that something that you have to like consciously quell?
Absolutely, I do. And I know that seems really weird, but it's something I work on.
Yeah.
And especially when I'm on stage with my ensemble, I don't want to be directing from within.
Yeah.
So I really want to that empty vessel feeling that I was talking to you about earlier is really essential for me because it gets me out of that leadership mode.
Yeah.
And I don't end up forcing things the way that I would if I allowed myself to direct from within.
Yeah.
And when I'm in a festival situation, luckily I'm surrounded by experts. I'm surrounded by my influences and people that I really look up to and other people really look up to. So, it evens the playing field.
Yeah.
And I feel more like a peer. But if we're warming up for a show or something like that, I have to take a step back and take a breath and be like, yeah, let somebody else lead, because really I don't get that opportunity often enough to just be a passenger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you perform in shows that you direct?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Not always. Like I took some shows off recently, but I do perform in shows that I direct, and that's why it's so important for me to not direct the show while I'm in it.
Yeah.
I need to be on equal playing field with all the other improvisers, making offers and accepting offers without that director's brain.
Yeah.
But I do like to say that as an improviser, you are the writer, the director, and the actor simultaneously.
Yeah.
And so to a certain degree, we all have the responsibility of doing some directing in our improvised scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
What do you do to nurture yourself as an improviser? Like that continued learning and like to continue to revitalize? I mean, I know you talked about having the Five Corners as this coalition for you as like someone who's in business, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like this director. But then just as an artist, how do you continue to kind of fuel yourself and feel like you're still, I don't want to say still got it, but like
But I still got it.
Still got it. But like keeping it fresh.
Well, what's really important to me is my world travel. So travel teaching around the world is the thing that really nurtures me and invigorates my spirit, and makes me want to come back and lead.
Yeah.
So like recently I did a tour of New Zealand and Australia, and I brought a show that I directed in Australia. And what I make sure that I do at these festivals is I take classes. Even if they seem like classes that are rudimentary, or classes for beginners, that sort of thing. I try to find classes that sound compelling to me or stabilizing for me, foundational for me, so that I'm revisiting the art of learning, so I can be a better teacher.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll go through these like kind of like a sine wave almost, where I like look back at my improv and I go, oh, I need to go back to like establishing the who, what, where.
Yeah.
Because I've gotten like way too heady, or I've gotten way too, whatever it is. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just not taking care of that.
Yeah, this is why in my school, I call that beginning class, I call it foundations instead of like intro to improv.
Yeah.
I call it foundations because it helps to attract improvisers who have experience to come back and work on those skills.
Yeah.
And right now I have several ensemble members that are taking the class. And it's really fantastic to have a mixed group with your beginners and also people with experience. I think they grow so much faster that way.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really a nice way to go about it, I think.
Yeah. My last 400 level class that I taught, I had a bunch of people who had gone through UP series, and I had another improviser, Nicole, who is a wonderful improviser, been doing it for some time now, and was like, oh yeah, I just want to revisit 400 again. I, just want to brush up. And having that difference between these newer improvisers who it's their first time, they've been improvising for about a year, kind of still fresh.
Yeah.
And then these other improvisers who are closer to, 2, 3, maybe even 5 years doing it. Like the learning together is so much more rich.
Yeah.
And I just like couldn't thank, these improvisers for coming back, because I'm like, you helped teach this class so much more than I ever could have, because you have that mixed blend of perspectives.
Yeah. I really encouraged mixed level classes. At Deep End, we don't have levels. I really work against that model.
Yeah.
And sometimes to my own detriment. People like levels and they want to take the next level and they want to level up, you know. But we don't do levels at Deep End because I really believe that mixed group benefit from each other so much.
Yeah.
And in terms of the more experienced improvisers, the best improvisers in the world aren't the best because they're playing with the best. They're the best because they can play with anyone.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, there gets to a point where improvisers will be like, I'm doing these shows and how do I get better? I'm like, you need to start performing with, you need to start raising up the next generation, finding people who are, still taking these leveled classes in like the 200, 300, 400 level. And now that you're out of these classes, go and perform with them because you'll learn more supporting than you will just get more reps on stage.
Learn how to alley-oop.
Yeah, absolutely. That reminds me, I think it was John Stone who said that we shouldn't have leveled classes. It should be more like martial arts belts.
Yeah.
And I was in Amsterdam with the Flock Theater and asking them about, it was either their classes or I think it was another company. I don't remember who it was, but their leveled classes were not levels, they were colors.
Yeah. And
you were meant to just take it sort of in a circle, but they'd all kind of figured out which was the beginning one and how do you level. Everyone wants to level up, but.
Right. The students do kind of figure out, but my students will come to me at the end of class and I'll tell each of them individually what class I think they should take next. Mm-hmm. And so some of them need something different to be their most successful improviser. Yeah. And so that's it. And it's kind of a fun part of my job is to know you well enough to know what you could use next. Yeah. And they really appreciate being seen that way.
Yeah. What are the courses that you have?
Well, we do a different set of like 3 courses every session. Yeah. Foundations, of course, is a great place to start, but it's a great place to return to also. Yep. And I always say the foundations class is different every time because there's a different group of people taking it. Right. Yeah. And so I try to teach to the group that's in the room and not to an assigned curriculum. Yeah. So many people take foundations more than once. Then we do a class called Scene Work that really focuses on the 2-person scene. And so that's kind of something that you would take after foundations. Yeah. And then we have acting for improvisers, which is something that you take to really learn acting skills, stagecraft, performance savvy, that sort of thing, in the framework of improv. Yep. We also have improvising drama. Okay. We have a wonderful storytelling class, and I'm trying to think of what other classes we have on offer right now. Well, right now we're doing, we do a class called Form and Function, which I think is really fun. I call the edits in improv functions. Okay. So we have a class that teaches a bunch of different formats and the different functions that create that format. Because it is in the transitions often that the format is born. Yeah. Like we're going to use these transitions over these transitions. So I dedicate a whole class to learning different kinds of edits and then and formats. And then at the end of that class, the students create their own format from scratch. Yeah. I'm thinking of in the edits back in the International Festival when we would all stay up way too late and do a Drerald. Yes. The Drunken Herald. I never participated in the Drunken Herald, I must say. I did only a few times. But the Drerald is famous. It's infamous probably. But I still remember it was Anders and Dave who would just roast people for the sweep edit. And it was during the Drerald that they would come up with the most ludicrous types of edits. Yeah. Like whatever it was, dragon edit, and slam dunk edits. And it would just be in the middle of someone's scene and Anders would come on in and just be like, slam dunk edit. Well, what is so great about those festival scenarios, and especially the International Festival, is that we could really let loose in a way that we can't let loose in our own theaters at our own time because we're setting an example. So what was frustrating to me was that was hard to play with. That kind of insanity was hard to play with. And I didn't feel playful about it. so I didn't play, but I have regretted not playing because of the freedom of it. Now I look back and I think some of the greatest laughs and some of the most wonderful moments came from people just throwing themselves into the madness.
Yeah. And that's truly what that was just this like joyful madness.
Yeah.
It was by the very definition of lunacy.
Yeah. And now I want that so bad. Like I want to be just thrown into the madness of, because I'm always in a leadership role. And so it would be really nice to find somewhere to play freer.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that the Five Corners is awesome about is when we get together, we just play.
Yeah.
We just play and we have a wonderful time. And then students watch the show and say, but you did this thing that you always tell me not to do. And I'll say, that's the only time it's okay.
Yeah. Well, Domeka, I'll make sure to set up some Drerolds and I'll invite you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for thinking of me.
Of course. Of course. As we're sort of wrapping things on up, what if you could see? Well, actually, no. I have one more question before our wrap-up question, which is, as you're doing your travels around, have you found that there is a specific like brand or flavor to the Pacific Northwest's improv scene?
Well, that's interesting because I see that story is really important in this area of the world. I think that what I can see in the places that I visit most is a real effort to tell story.
Yeah.
And I don't see it everywhere, but I do see it as something that is overarching.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get out to see as much in this area as I do in other parts of the world because when I'm in this area, I'm at home working.
Of course.
Yeah.
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. And then as listeners know, our final question is if you could see improv change and grow, whether it's just in this region or just sort of like the art form itself, in the next 5, 10, maybe 15 years, how would you like to see improv grow and change?
Well, some of the things that I'd really like to see is I'd like to see a more acceptance of pause and of slowing down. That doesn't mean I want all improv to be slow and methodical and meaningful and these sort of things, but I'd like there to be more acceptance of that, so that if an improviser who's really used to something fast is on stage with someone who thinks a little bit slower or processes a little bit slower, that they get opportunities in equal measure.
Yeah.
That people can read the room a little bit more. That's what I'd like to see. And I'd like to see improv be more inclusive. I know that in Portland, there's a lot of diversity in improv, but not enough. Yeah. And around the world, I see a lot of white men on stage. And
sorry.
Yeah, please apologize.
Sorry.
Both of you. And I'd like to see improv being more inclusive.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, Domeka, thank you so much for being on our episode of Cascade Improv. It has just been such a delight. And it's like I'd said last week is I just get to have conversation with my heroes, and you are certainly amongst those people who I look up to. And just the improv that you do and the style that you champion is something that I'm just like, I'm so grateful to get to just watch and learn and be in your orbit. So thank you so much.
Sweet. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And thanks for listening to another episode of Cascade Improv.
If you'd like Chaz and I to interview you, please email us at cascadeimprovpodcast@gmail.com.
That's right.
All right, good. I can remember the email address.
That's right.
Or if you'd like us to come visit a festival, we do interviews there as well, or perform. Reach out to us there as well. In fact, Chaz is teaching an exciting class about how to let your beard inspire your performance on stage.
Yeah.
And whether that is your facial hair or your partner who is covering up your sexuality, we're happy to have Chaz talk about that in your performances.
Yeah, beard prov. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm shaking my head.
Thanks so much. We'll see you guys next time.
Never have to look back now. Ooh, yeah.
The Cascade Improv Podcast is produced by Paul Furio and Chaz Kaskis. Musical backing is provided by Anomi Bell, whose music can be found online at anomibell.bandcamp.com.